Donald Trump thinks that if he can't see his problems, they aren't actually there. We call Donald Trump a child every day because he is one, but certainly in the case of his lack of object permanence, if he isn't looking at the Epstein scandal, if he hides from the bad poll numbers of the government shutdown, Donald Trump thinks it all goes away, which is why today he was rushed away after posting an insane message which has instantly backfired, because everything around Donald Trump, especially this government shutdown that he has failed to message, and we all know is his fault, is blowing up his administration. We're going to get into it all, but before we do, if I could quickly ask you to leave a like on this video, and if you haven't already and you enjoy our channel, to hit that subscribe button, because it goes a long way in supporting our work. Now, I want to begin this video by starting with a clip of one of the biggest reasons why Donald Trump is hiding today, aside from that post, is what Marjorie Taylor Greene said right here.
I've been here in Washington all week, and I've been at my office, I've been in the Capitol. There's two things I couldn't find this week. I couldn't find anywhere the Epstein files, and I also couldn't find the Republican plan to fix the absolutely destroyed health insurance industry that got wiped out in 2015 with Obamacare. Yeah. Like, those are the two things I can't find. And when Republicans, and I'm criticizing also Congress big time. I'm really grateful to a lot of the things the president is doing, but I'm really upset with the direction Congress is going. But when we are not doing anything to address the cost of living, we aren't doing anything about Blackstone buying up houses where most young people can't find a house and they're having to compete in bidding wars.
Right.
And we're not doing anything about health insurance premiums. Then for the love of God, what are we doing?
Right.
It is not just Donald Trump who is in the Presidential Witness Protection Program. It is all of the Republican Party. These people are running scared because they understand there are only two bad options. Either Republicans strip you of your health care, they make it more expensive to live in the wealthiest nation in the history of the world, where everyone should have their health care guaranteed as a human right. All these fake patriots who love to hug a flag but are okay with the hospital bankrupting you. It's idiocy. But the other option is the government shutdown continues. And what happens when the government shutdown continues? Republicans only become more unpopular because of videos like this.
As I take a step aside here, there is quite a bit of military members and their families in line because of this government shutdown. We're in day 9 of it, and they're here for a food pantry. There's all sorts of food that is available, and I spoke with some military member spouses, and I spoke with some department heads here at the ASYMCA on why this is so important. What's the difference in the amount of people that you've seen from today to previously?
So when we first started coming, there definitely wasn't this amount of people. It was a lot, but it wasn't this amount to where it wrapped around the building. But lately it has been a lot. Like, we were here last week and we were in line for like 2 hours.
In a normal week, we usually run out of food about 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Last week, we ran out of food about 10:30.
Military families at food banks because of Republicans who, if they actually did vote to continue to fund the government, their policies are still going to be hurtful to military families, still going to be hurtful to those who have served our nation and now have ailments because of that service that Republicans don't want them to be able to have treated because they don't care. Like, that's it. I'd also say maybe we could take some of that money that we send over to Israel every year and make sure that our troops are actually taken care of. But that's a different story. The story today is that Donald Trump is trying to hide from videos like this, and he thought he could post his way out of it. So before we get to how he was rushed away, let's start with that post. Trump attacks Dems as he promises to pay our troops this week. Donald Trump vowed in a Truth Social post to pay out troops during the current government shutdown that he blamed on Democratic leadership. Chuck Schumer recently said every day gets better during their radical left shutdown. I disagree, Trump posted on Saturday. If nothing is done because of leader Chuck Schumer and the Democrats, our brave troops will miss the paycheck they are rightfully due on October 15th. Trump continued, "That is why I am using my authority as commander-in-chief to direct our Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth, to use all available funds to get our troops paid on October 15th. Trump says, "I will not allow the Democrats to hold our military and the entire security of our nation hostage." Trump began implementing mass layoffs of workers on Democrat programs as punishment for the government shutdown, though the recommendation of Russell Vought, the director of the Office of Management and Budget. Democrats, of course, have refused to budge on stalled continuing resolutions unless Republicans agree to back off coming cuts to the Affordable Care Act and Medicaid. Republicans are accusing, falsely, the Democrats of wanting health care for undocumented immigrants. And while all hell was breaking loose and Donald Trump said he was working for the troops, what was he actually doing? Well, Trump 79 was spending the second shutdown weekend golfing. Donald Trump treated himself to a round of golf on Saturday morning while the government remains shut down and federal workers are getting axed by his budget goon, Russ Vought. With 750,000 federal workers furloughed and dozens of CDC employees laid off overnight, Trump traveled to his Virginia golf club and arrived just after 10 a.m. It is the second straight weekend during the shutdown that Trump has taken a few hours to himself to hit the links. Trump's golf trip continues his habit of not letting any national crisis, no matter the stakes, get in the way of his golf game. During his second term, Trump golfed as the stock markets plunged in response to his tariff announcements. He also enjoyed a little golfing in July while Texas suffered from flash floods. So that video of military families at a food bank obviously went incredibly viral, and so Donald Trump, only ever focused on the narrative and not actually what's affecting real people, decided that he was going to cast the blame on the Democrats. But let's keep in mind that Donald Trump is cutting jobs at the VA. Donald Trump has made it more difficult for veterans to access their health care. Remember when every single Republican voted against the PACT Act? Remember when Republicans decided that troops exposed to toxic burn pits who needed health care, who needed medical assistance, who needed life-saving treatment after serving our country, Republicans said, go fuck off? Yet Donald Trump doesn't care about troops. He's just looking for a way to blame Democrats for this shutdown. Why? Well, because the illegals are taking your health care line. Yeah, it didn't really work so well. Because, in fact, actually undocumented people pay over $100 billion every single year in taxes, primarily payroll taxes that fund Medicare, Social Security, unemployment programs that they can't access. All the while, the people who are actually stealing your health care are Donald Trump, Elon Musk, because he wants to be the first trillionaire in the world, and let's not forget about Larry Ellison, the guy using your money that should be yours for your healthcare, your human right, to buy TikTok. And why is Larry Ellison doing that? It's not just a part of him expanding his media empire. Of course, his son, David Ellison, was part of that merger between Skydance and Paramount that ended up with Stephen Colbert losing his show. We have seen the expansion of the Ellison family media empire. TikTok is next. And why? Well, of course, to serve the Trump administration, they said that this algorithm was going to be favorable to the dear American leader. Now, if it was a Democrat, that wouldn't be the case. If it was a progressive, that wouldn't be the case. No. It's just for Trump. But Ellison, importantly, is also the biggest donor ever to Friends of the IDF. Yes, Larry Ellison, who is a friend of Bibi Netanyahu, who said that TikTok is the most important purchase right now because it is a weapon of war for Israel to propagandize with. They're making sure that at Donald Trump's request, the media that you see is skewed towards their agenda. Now, that's not a conspiracy. That's not, just a scary narrative we're pushing. That is the truth. We saw Netanyahu. And if this is a ceasefire, let me say this, that holds, I'm not sure. Thank God. But Israel is still an apartheid state. Let's make that very clear. But Netanyahu wants to focus on the PR. He's saying everyone hates us for no reason. Well, maybe because you are committing a genocide. Maybe that's why people hate you. Larry Ellison, he wants to change that image. Donald Trump wants to change that image, and of course, of himself. But these are two leaders, and I bring them up specifically, Bibi and Trump, who want to act completely outside of the law. Both of them really care about office, not just for the purpose of corruption, but escaping accountability, certainly, from the law, because they think they're above it. They think they're kings, which is why I'm so glad that the No Kings protests are coming back October 8th, 18th, excuse me, October 18th. Let's get that date right, and I want you to hear more about it right here.
The October 18th protests they are referring to are the No Kings protests. Funny how they left the name out of that one. You may remember there were also No Kings protests across the country this past June when millions of people in cities and towns across the country showed up to speak out against Trump and this administration. Faced with another round of those massive protests, Trump and his allies are arguing that if you engage in your uniquely American right to protest, then you are un-American. If you speak out against Trump, then you hate America. Now that is un-American. But the fact that those on the right are desperately trying to delegitimize protesters is a sign of how afraid they are of what Americans have to say. On October 18th, nearly 2,500 No Kings protests are scheduled to take place across the country. That means that potentially hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people, will take to the streets to protest the Trump administration. And like they did back in June during the first No Kings rally, when at least 4 million people, more than that, were out in full force. And since then, there's been a near constant stream of protests against everything from Trump's heartless immigration raids to Republican plans to gut health care for millions of Americans. And instead of, listening to them, Trump and Republicans are now trying to demonize these protesters by saying the upcoming No Kings protest is a hate America rally that will promote terrorism, which is an absolutely insane thing to say. These rallygoers are doing one of the most American things possible, utilizing their right to peacefully protest. And then if it's anything like the last No Kings protest, it will probably look a whole lot like this scene from Memphis.
Y'all, I've been feeling it lately. Really, this entire month, I've just been, to be honest with you, a little down in the dumps. The news is getting to me. It's all getting to me. I did not really want to record today. I like being with y'all though, so I like recording. But we need community right now. We need to be together. We need that energy. We need that love. And I am excited to be seeing y'all out at a No Kings protest in D.C. Please go. I'd like to take the day off, enjoy yourself, be with like-minded folks who care and who have the same passion as you do. It'll make you feel so much better. I'm hoping to see y'all out there. I'm sometimes difficult to miss. I'm kind of a tall guy. So if you see me, come up and say hi. I'd love to see y'all. That would be fantastic. Whenever I'm at fun events with our friends at Move On, I always see y'all and it's fantastic. And it always means the world to me when you come up. But I hope to see you. I hope you turn out. And if you want to support our show, as always, you can hit that subscribe button, leave a like on this video. If you stuck around to the end, drop a blue heart in the comments. And I got a big announcement. I have joined the Bulwark as a host of weekend programming. So if you want to check out my first video with Tim, it's going to be linked right there. Keep on fighting. Don't let them silence you. And until next time, I'll see you soon.